Coach Kenneth here. In this module, we're going to talk about what is a cleanup conversation. Now, we've made lots of mistakes in our lives. I know I have, and again, no one's mistake free. And we've apologized for some things. Some things we've never even done that much. So, what I want to talk about is how to have a proper cleanup conversation. And it's called a cleanup conversation for a reason. It's not an apology. It's not an amends for any of you that have done any 12-step work and we talk about amends. It's not an amends. Cleanup conversation is much deeper. Now, let's define each one. An apology. An apology is when I say the words, I'm sorry to somebody. And when we were a kid, right, and we'd fight with our brother or sister or take something from them or hurt them or whatever, mom and dad made us apologize. And when they made us apologize, we basically were rewarded, right? Like we got off the hook. So the apology is more about the person giving it. I'm telling you that I'm sorry to make me feel better. If I tell you that I'm sorry for something, I'm I'm off the hook, right? Wrong. So an apology is going to become the lowest form of recognizing that I've done something wrong or not the best. When we do 12-step work, we're taught how to make amends, which is an apology followed by a question about action. What can I do to make things right? So now at least what I'm doing is offering something. I'm apologizing to make me feel better. Is there something I can do to make you feel better? So making an amends is a little bit like a one step higher, a little bit better. Now, even though that, though, again, is still more about me and less about the other person. A cleanup conversation becomes 100% about the other person and not about me. It's not about clearing my conscience. It's not about making me feel better. It's not about getting something off my back or off my chest. It's about the other person. And here's how it's different. When I realize and I feel and I recognize the pain that I caused someone else, and I can relay that I know that I've caused them pain and I have felt at least partially the pain that I've caused them, because I can't fully feel the pain that I caused them, but I feel the pain that I've caused them. That's a cleanup conversation. And I'm going to give you an example. It's not an easy one to share. So when I first learned about cleanup conversations, I already knew the one thing that I needed to really clean up with my wife. And there's lots of things, but I mean, there was a main one. If anybody hasn't watched my story, briefly, I will share. So I was married 17 years to a beautiful woman named Maria. We had 3 children together. And 10 years ago now, she had passed away of cancer, leaving me widowed. And after a period of time, I know that I'm called to be a married man as part of my vocation. And I started dating again. And I met this woman who's a convert to Catholicism. And we started dating, and she has 2 children. She was divorced. We promised each other chastity until marriage. Chastity until marriage. And so we were dating, we were staying chaste, and somewhere along the lines, we crossed that line and we ended up making love. And because it was mutual and because again, I justified that, again, everything was cool. I thought, great. I mean, we're already really close to marriage at that point, and not much later on we got married. And again, it's not a justification for sin. After we got married and we were experiencing trouble, my wife would tell me, this we're having this trouble because we didn't remain chaste, and it falls upon me as the man. It's my fault. And when I say fault, wow, because I tell people, don't, it's not about fault. It's my responsibility that happened. So for a long time, I kept going, what do you mean it was mutual? And, we love each other. We knew we were getting married. Like I'd over and over again. And then I would, try to fix things. And then I joined Man on Fire, got some real coaching, some real challenge, and some real accountability, and, started healing from some past traumas and wounds. And wow, like it was just a changing experience. And I started seeing things differently. And then I was at, um, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. So I came home from one of our weekends, one of our immersive weekends, and I realized I need to clean this up. And so she was already in bed. It was late at night. I just flew in and I threw all my stuff down and I walked over to the side of the bed and I got down on my knees and I asked her for a hand and I took her hand and I put her hand on my heart and I said, I finally get it, honey. I finally realized all the pain that I've hurt, caused you in not remaining chaste before marriage. And we just had some tears together and I let her know how much I now knew and felt the pain that I caused her by crossing that line and not holding it and not following through on my promise. And so I thought, okay, whew, that was that was a rough one. And then weeks later, a month later, it came up again, and then it came up again, and it came up again. I'm thinking, what's going on here? I thought I cleaned it up. This is the other thing I learned about cleanup conversations. We're men. If we work together and we have a problem and we go out in the parking lot and duke it out, I don't know, like whatever it is that we have, if we clean it up, if we apologize to each other, shake hands, we can go, we're going to go have coffee together. It's done. It's not the way it works with women. It's not. You might have to the same cleanup conversation multiple times, which I've had about this instance. But here's the difference. I went to another immersion weekend, and at this immersion weekend, a man shared his story that would just tore me up. When he was dating his wife, they got pregnant. She got scared, and she wanted to have an abortion, and he supported her. And it wasn't until after they were married for a while that it came out. She was like, I just needed you to take a stand. I just needed you in that moment to stop me. And it was crushing because not only was that crushing, but then I realized again how painful it was for my wife and how much trust I lost in that moment when I didn't withhold what I said I would do, which is to remain chaste before marriage. So I came home again. Now this time, way different in a much deeper level. And I'll remember it because we were here in my office and she was standing just right over there. And I ended up, as I was cleaning that up, I was experiencing the pain that I'd caused her. And I literally brought me not just to my knees, to the ground, where I was crying profusely onto her feet. And I almost felt like that story in the Bible, the woman with Jesus, and just begging for forgiveness for what I have done. And that was the last time I had a cleanup conversation about that. And it's never come back. It's never come back up again. So understand that an apology is very hollow and very empty. Because I hear men all the time that are having relationship problems. Well, I owned it. I'm like, okay, I understand now. I did this, and you make the whole laundry list and you say, I'm sorry. And you believe that that should be it and it should be over. No. What is required is a cleanup conversation. And what's going to be required most likely is multiple cleanup conversations on each instance. And the only way you're going to be able to feel the pain that you caused somebody else is to first and foremost get in touch with all the pain that you've been carrying around. First and foremost, you're going to have to do the work on yourself so that you can feel your emotions, so that you can start feeling the pain, the emotional pain that you've caused somebody else, which again is part of the process. It's part of what we're doing here. The more we can help you focus and look at and feel your own trauma and wounds to heal from them, the more you'll be able to connect to somebody else's. Because what's required in every deep, intimate, loving relationship: empathy, compassion, and love. And when you don't have those for yourself, it's not possible to give them to somebody else. So you first learn how to have love, compassion, and empathy for you so that you can have love, compassion, and empathy for another person. And then you can get to this level where I can actually feel the pain that I've caused somebody else. And again, that's empathy, not sympathy. We don't deal with sympathy here. I don't want sympathy in my group. I don't want anybody patting each other on the back saying everything's going to be okay. No, I can empathize. I can feel the pain with you, brother. But pain you will feel, and pain you will keep feeling until you make a change. Pain you will keep feeling until you've done the work. Pain you will keep feeling until you experience the pain instead of running from it. There's no sympathy there. That's empathy. And until you can get to the point where you can actually have a deep, meaningful cleanup conversation with somebody, there's always going to be space in that relationship that where you can't seem to get together. And that space is also going to cause space between you and your creator, because it's in relationship with people, with the body of Christ, that we have a relationship with God. So again, it's all connected, and it's all going to come back to what have you been avoiding? What have you been lying about? What is it that you need to have real cleanup conversations about, and stop apologizing and thinking that's all you need to do, and stop apologizing and then get mad when you don't feel like you've been forgiven. Have you forgiven yourself? Where's the love and compassion and empathy for you? And where's the grace and mercy that is required for yourself and for others, so that you can start to rebuild those relationships and stop thinking that, oh, I did it. I apologize. We should be fine. That's just not the way it works. So my life has significantly changed since I've been able to have cleanup conversations with the people I love, because I've had them with my parents, I've had them with my brother, I've had them with all sorts of people, and I've had them with my children multiple times, because I wasn't being the father that they needed and deserved for me to be. So cleanup conversations becomes a really important part of this process. But it all starts with and begins with you doing the work on you, focusing on you, and loving the man in the mirror, so that he can become that powerful masculine leader who can be vulnerable and have cleanup conversations with the people he loves.